Hey guys, welcome to InGrained with Stubborn Brothers Brewery. We are here today with Lee. Lee, what's your last name? I don't even know that.
I know, we've known each other now for almost 4 years now. Lee Birken.
Birken.
Yeah, B-E-R-K-E-N.
It's okay, you don't have to spell
Yeah.
it.
Just in case.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
We're going to start drinking and then we're going to start talking. So
awesome.
First we got Field Notes Vodka here. This is kind of one of your this is like one of your flagships, right?
Yeah, it still is. Technically, it is our best-selling product. Our Field Notes Vodka. It's kind of a flagship. Most craft distilleries we kind of start with. A lot of craft distillers, they start with their clear spirits. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it is technically it's about cash flow.
Yeah.
And it's about getting a product out there right away as we wait and play that waiting game until some aged spirits come.
Yeah.
As we kind of develop other brand ideas and everything. Vodka and gins, those are pretty common for a lot of startup distilleries.
Well, because, like you said, a lot of people don't realize, maybe someone new listening to this would never understand this, but like if it is brown most of the time, other than like a spiced rum or something along those lines, most of the time it's been in some kind of wood, which means it's been aged.
Because even whiskey, when it comes out the still, it's clear.
Yeah.
But yes, so it's going to have
brandies as well, right? Brandies are usually an aged product.
Absolutely.
And so you guys are how many years old now?
So 4 years. So
yeah.
We just finished up our, just had a 4-year anniversary just a couple months ago. So yeah.
So Crosse Distillery started then in 2018?
Yeah. So
tell me what is Crosse Distillery? Probably something we should chat about.
Yeah. So we started our distillery August of 2018. We've got a really cool little restaurant tasting room that's located right in downtown La Crosse. And so, when we designed and had this idea of building a distillery, La Crosse is such a beautiful region.
Sure.
It's got the bluffs and the rolling hills and the rivers. It's also got some of the highest concentration of organic farming in the entire United States.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's some very big companies out of that area that have to produce a lot of organic product throughout, mostly dairy and stuff. But so a ton of organic farming in the area. So for myself and my few partners, there's 4 of us that kind of started this distillery from the beginning. And we had this idea of being able to basically showcase the work of the local farmers.
Awesome.
And because we do have this high concentration of organic farming, we're able to kind of team up with some of them and really kind of showcase what they're doing. And so our whole thing is we are organic. We're all certified organic. We're all Wisconsin made. But even beyond that, it goes back to the work of the farmer. And these are specific farmers that we work with that grow these heirloom varietals so essentially they have got a stake in what we're doing. So
they care.
They care. We care, about what they're growing. So they truly have a stake in our success as well.
It is so interesting hearing about like these relationships with farmers. How the hell did you even find these dudes? Like, how are you like, hey man, like, I want you to grow this heirloom variety of dent for me for some corn.
Absolutely. The vodka we're drinking here it's a yellow dent corn.
It's a yellow. Okay, there's 100%, right? 100% yellow dent.
100% yellow dent corn. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. So. This was something that we, this farmer's outside of kind of a little bit more closer to Madison, the Dodgeville area.
Sure.
Just kind of some connections.
Friend through a friend.
Friends through friends. Another one of our farmers, Patrick McHugh Farms is in West Salem and Holman, so just kind of to the north of La Crosse, just about 10 miles or so. And Patrick is honestly a very integral part of our operation.
Sure.
Growing grains, he does a lot of our rye, a lot of our specific varietals of corn for our bourbons. And he also, he's just a great young man,
a good
farmer. Dude. He's got a bunch of different properties. We actually store some barrels at one of his barns.
They're sweet. I've been there.
You have been there,
yes.
And so, he even comes and grabs all of our spent grain from after, during our production. So he uses the spent grain to spread in his fields.
Oh, so he does like a composting thing with it?
Yep.
Okay.
And he even does a composting with our restaurant waste.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So he's kind of devised this new kind of plan. And so we actually have a big compost bin, I guess, in the back. That not only is he coming each week to grab our spent grain from the still and from production of the spirits, he's also grabbing all of our spent grain or spent waste.
Spent waste
from the restaurant.
So your staff is basically having to are separating it into appropriate bins, and then they're taking it. But that's huge, because also that talks about like your staff have to be dedicated to the mission as well, because they're not like, oh man, I don't care if this plastic goes in here. They're like, all right, this is going out to the fields. We want to make sure that we're growing a good product and that we're basically being responsible. And that speaks a lot to you guys as well. I wish, I wish more places could say that.
And that's one of those things, because it's not easy to be, to try and maintain the sustainable approach. We do as best as we can, even with the restaurant that we serve or the food that we serve in our restaurant. Not necessarily all organic. We try to be organic, but it really is about local purveyors. Getting our chickens for our chicken wings. We've got some of the best chicken wings I've ever had. But it's a local, small little chicken farm. That's
amazing. I didn't even know that was like a thing. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're smaller little bones, but they're fantastic.
They're just good.
The smaller wings, I guess. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Also, don't judge Lee if he is not finishing his drink. He can take a sip, but he has a really important meeting with Lambeau today, because Field Notes is actually served at Lambeau, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. He's a modest man, which I appreciate.
Yep.
I would have been like, fuck yeah, it is. Let me fucking tell you, boy.
Well, considering I am a season ticket holder of Lambeau,
there you go.
It was a very special few months as we were in talks with the Green Bay Packers over the summer. Very cool, very organic conversation between both sides. Kind of had a good conversation from the beginning, and then the Packers really had some very genuine interest in, if you look at a lot of their sponsors across the board, they are Wisconsin businesses. Haven't really played it in the spirits approach, working with someone local. And I think that they really kind of saw our vision with it, with being organic, Wisconsin farmers, all of those things, and there was a very genuine interest from them from the beginning, and so really kind of morphed into this. Now we've got a 3-year partnership, and it's pretty damn cool.
Well, but on top of that, I want to just, like I said, not trying to blow you up or think anything like that, because they're fucking awesome. But before they were with like Sazerac, right? They were with a pretty, I'm not gonna say international, but international player.
Absolutely.
And for them, that shows you your quality. They even wanted to have this conversation with someone so organic and, awesome like you guys, that they just were willing to take you on, and you willing to take them on as a partnership.
Absolutely.
Because most of the time, right, they're like, where's this? Don't get me wrong. Sure, there was a little bit of that, but it was a partnership that you guys were both behind. And that's
it really
cool.
was. And that was, even from the beginning, it was never a sponsorship.
Sure.
It was always a partnership.
It's a partnership.
And again, I think that they see value in supporting small business, emerging businesses, emerging brands. Again, I know that they still have some sponsorship for some of these big brands, big liquor brands.
Of course, let's not be silly. Yeah.
Yep. But
money to be made, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And everyone's calling certain brands, so we understand that. But I think for them, really to be able to showcase, something that's really cool and very Wisconsin proud. And we all know Packer fans, and people in Wisconsin are very Wisconsin proud.
Well, you guys usually so a lot of people also don't understand distillery brands. I don't know. I'm going to use Tito's as an example, but people think that Tito's blew up out of nowhere. No, that was like a 15, 20 year growth, and then suddenly, you know what I mean? And then they were getting traction and growing pretty, significantly. You guys are only 4 years, and you're already doing this with, huge kudos to you guys.
Well,
when I heard that, I was just like, fuck yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to do it, I'm happy Lee and his team are doing it. Chuba and all those guys. So.
Yeah, it was really, obviously very special for us. We're all diehard Packer fans. A couple of us, the ownership group, we are from Green Bay, and it was just something that was, obviously very close to us and in our heart to make this happen. But just a really cool experience, even just to be having those conversations with them. Yep. And then again, that genuine interest that they had, it's like, wow, shit, maybe we are doing something pretty cool.
Yeah, if they tasted your product and it was like, this tastes like ass, you know what I mean? They probably would want to go forward. But they were like,
potentially.
Forgive me, I don't really drink a lot, mainly because I got to keep a 30-some staff going all the time.
Absolutely.
But, I just drank your vodka again, probably for the first time in like a couple months. And man, it's just so clean.
Yeah,
it's good.
You know,
it's
that's
like
the thing.
really
Like,
good.
yeah, going back to the Field Notes vodka.
I guess I can drink a little more.
Yeah, right. It's a very unique style of vodka where it's soft, it's approachable. It truly is a vodka that you can put on the rocks.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of people, when we do these little tastings and stuff in grocery stores and liquor stores, you know, people are like, oh, drink it by itself. It's like, no, try it by itself.
Just try it, man.
You know, most people are used to that rubbing alcohol burn. And this, you can really see, again, the showcase. We're trying to showcase the farmer's work. You can taste a little bit of that sweetness, a little bit of that corn, and it just is a very nice, soft, smooth vodka.
It's just beautiful.
It's just a really cool expression.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, one of those things that people don't always appreciate, and you guys are doing it good.
And that's the thing, you know, for us, we're you know, even going back to some of the things you were saying, you know, it's a lot of clawing and scratching to get your name out there. You know, Tito's just didn't blow up like that. You know, I mean, they had, you know, some very smart marketing people behind them, and whatever it was, whether it was labels or gluten-free.
I was just going to say gluten-free.
Yeah, who knows?
Caught the wave, right?
We're gluten-free too.
They are, almost all vodkas are gluten-free, just so we know. Pretty much. But...
yeah, but it was just kind of, you know, I think for them, they just kind of struck at the right time and had handcrafted and like whatever it was. But, you know, that's for us. You know, there is a lot of clawing and scratching to get our name out there. And but it's been a really good roller coaster for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a great spot. We're really getting some really nice exposure. And we're getting to be in a good spot.
Yep.
Long ways to go.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a growth pattern. It's the 10 to 20 year growth pattern.
Just like
brewing. Like brewing.
Absolutely.
Good God,
a lot of upfront costs. And
and
again, going back to, you know, we kind of hinted on a little bit as far as the whiskeys and stuff, and, you know, kind of why you have a vodka and a gin to begin with. It's like, you know,
you need the money, right?
Yeah, and whiskeys, you know, generally speaking, like a bourbon is going to be in a barrel. Most people are going to put it in a barrel for 4 years, so you've got to play this waiting game. Yeah, it really is. Especially the liquor industry, it's a waiting game. Yeah, whether it's getting your product on the shelf or waiting for your whiskeys or whatnot. So it's a battle.
Yeah, and you know, I also got to educate people about this because this is really important. You guys could have taken, I'm going to say the cheater way to get your spirits out there, right? We know like Bardstown Distillery, or let's say a celebrity is like, I want to launch a whiskey.
Absolutely.
You know, there's certain people they can call. Terra Pure used to be one of the companies. MGP is probably the most well-known. You guys could have just been like, all right, we're going to go make, you know, whatever, some contractual buy from them, put it into a bottle. I think you still have to say, like, you know,
bottled in La Crosse,
distilled in Indiana or wherever it is. Exactly. That's all I look for now whenever I get, like, whenever a distributor will bring me a bottle, they'll be like, check this out. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's an MGP product. All right, we can just move on. You know what I mean? You know, don't get me wrong. I think MGP does make a couple great products. Awesome.
Great whiskey.
Sure. We're not shitting on them. They're fucking great. But you guys chose to, like, I'm not going to say do the hard way, but you did.
Yeah.
You were like, all right, let's wait until the barrels are matured, and then we'll release the product, which is huge.
Absolutely. You know, and it was something that was truly valuable for our DNA and our brand story. Again, we do everything on site. We've got it's a geothermal powered facility even, so we tap into an underground water source that's beneath it that cools all of our equipment and uses it in our distillation methods and stuff. So and we mill on site. Everything is done on site, and that's just something that's just true to us. We want to have control over every piece of it, and when the end product comes out and we put it in a bottle, we want to say that's our juice.
Sure,
and there's some real value in it, but it's also like, shit, it's a long time to wait.
Well, you know, I'm going to show my true colors pretty quickly here, but it's like, I think that is underappreciated. You know, there's a lot of vodkas out there that, you know, there's also gigantic, huge companies that are making neutral grain spirits or something like that. And they just crank out that fucking shit. And they're like, all right, let's dilute it down with reverse osmosis water or whatever as they do. And then they're like, all right, we're at 40 proof or whatever, 80 proof, 40 proof, whatever. And they're like, all right, bottle that shit.
Made in Texas. Was it really made in Austin, Texas? Probably not.
No. They bring it in by the truckload, maybe run it through their pot still or something. And then, let's not shit on Tito's too much, okay? You didn't say that. You didn't say that at all. Nope. Next thing you know, that asshole's going to be here. So anyway.
Sorry, Mr. Beverage.
Yeah, he's great. Anyway, so Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the Christmas gin for funsies.
Yeah, and just
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so at least our clear spirits, you can see that we're kind of a house of brands.
Sure.
So we do. It's intentionally a house of brands instead of a branded house.
What does that mean? What the hell's a house of brands? Because I see Field Notes vodka here.
So,
why isn't it called the Crosse vodka?
Yep, exactly.
Like,
So it's not
what is that?
Crosse Distilling Company vodka. It's Field Notes vodka, and we also have our Field Notes gin that's not displayed here, but that's our everyday gin is called Field Notes gin. So our clear spirits are underneath the Field Notes label. So essentially we are a house of brands. So we've got a brand that's kind of, part of it is kind of like you got something for everybody.
Sure.
But it's got a standalone brand that can kind of stand by itself. So as we kind of hit other markets, and so for example, we've got a really strong business in Colorado.
Yeah.
We distribute out in Colorado. This Downtown Toodaloo is our best seller out in Colorado.
I never would have guessed. That's really cool.
Yep, this Rock and Rye whiskey does a little bit better than our vodka. So this Downtown Toodaloo can kind of stand by itself as its own brand in other markets.
Sure.
So that's kind of one of the reasons. And again, it's just also, our company's called Crosse Distilling Company. It's like sometimes it's kind of tough to say Crosse Distilling Company vodka, Crosse Distilling Company gin, Crosse Distilling Company whiskey.
Stubborn Brothers Brewery. It gets a lot. Yeah, it's a mouthful. I get it.
And when we're looking for Jack and Coke.
Yep, you look for that call brand.
Yep.
What's that name? Field Notes.
Field Notes and soda.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So that's kind of part of it. There's a lot of reasons for it. And then again, as we see the success of individual brands, we've got options with our individual brands kind of going forward.
Now he's talking business jargon for that. If he wants to ever sell Field Notes, he has the option. Is that correct? I'm not going to say that. But if he ever wanted to. He did not say that. Anyway, let's try the Christmas gin.
So again, our Field Notes gin, we do have a...
What's the Christmas gin called? Is it called Christmas gin?
This one is called the Crosse Distilling Company Christmas gin.
Beautiful poppy name.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a really fun holiday offering that we've done now for the last couple of years. So what we do is we take the base spirit is our...
Thank you, handsome.
Field Notes gin, everyday gin. Proofed up a little bit. Our everyday gin is 90 proof. This is 92 proof. So we release it. You can see this really beautiful, deep Christmas red. And that comes from black currants. Oh, okay. So what we do is we take our Field Notes gin essentially, and we basically steep black currants directly right onto the juice.
Is this organic as well?
This is organic. Yep. Right. This is organic because again, it's organic black currants. It's also that organic Field Notes gin.
Yeah.
And so it's mostly Christmas in color, but it's it's not going to be super over the top Christmas spice like nutmeg and cinnamon. It's much more subtle. Our base gin is going to have a lot of botanicals, a lot of herbaceous cooking spices that we use, like coriander and cardamom and thyme, a lot of those. And so you can get some of those savory kind of cooking spices into it. Yeah. And then that black currant just kind of gives it a little bit more acidity, kind of that juicy, tart kind of... just a little bit more acidity, kind of a dry style of, not London dry, not, super pine tree dry, but a little bit more, just kind of herbaceous and acidic.
So a lot of people don't know about Stubborn Brothers, but we have a full bar downstairs, and our only gin we actually carry, because I love it so much, is Field Notes gin. I feel, don't get me wrong, I love all your products. I carry like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
The only one that we do for a gin is your guys' gin. I just feel like you guys make the best gin out there. Mainly, like most people think of like a London Dry, like a Tanqueray style, and they're just like, oh, I don't like to drink pine needles, and that's exactly what I thought. You know what I mean? I was like, here this guy comes into my fucking place. He's like, oh, try my gin, and I'm just like, who are you? Yeah, I was gonna say, great, thanks so much. Try to be nice about it, and then he offers you this product that actually tastes amazing with the, citrus, the cardamom, everything. It was just like, this is not what I'm used to. Yeah. This is actually wonderful. Yeah, awesome. And you can, when you do that with you do that in a gin tonic, or you do that with with club soda or whatever you do, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and that's how our regular Field Notes gin. I love it. It's just a splash of seltzer water, just a little bit of give it a little carbonation and a lime, and you're good to go. It's I got a lot of layers of characters, like you noted, the citrus, and you get a lot of those herbaceous, savory tones from a lot of the coriander and the cardamom. So it's a really cool style of gin.
It is.
Yeah, very flavorful. Got a lot of layers, but then we kind of twisted up.
Yes, with the black Curans,
Christmas gin, and just
Currant or current.
I think is, I don't know. I guess that's what. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what people from Swamico say.
Bag, bog, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's fantastic. And this is also amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I never had this before. This is
and so this is just kind of a fun little seasonal release that we throw out there every holiday season. Essentially, it kind of starts hitting the shelves right around November 1st, and by the end of Christmas, it's off the shelves. But just kind of a fun little holiday seasonal offering. It's a great gift giving idea, and obviously it just makes a beautiful cocktail.
And on top of that, like, the bottle is just gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like, if you have that on your shelf at a party or something like that, people are gonna be like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
It's just nice. Good job.
Well, and that's what's fun too with it, where you can make a beautiful cocktail, and all you have to do is splash it up a little tonic or a little soda, and even if you want to burn a little rosemary sprig and drop it in there, you're like, oh, fancy cocktail. It's like, all it is really just gin and soda.
Well, this is awesome.
But really fun spirit that we release every holiday season.
So you guys are in Colorado, Wisconsin,
Minnesota, and Illinois.
So
and a little bit of California.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we sponsored a music festival in Tahoe last spring. So it's a 2-part music festival. There's one music festival in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Okay. And then there's one in Tahoe. And so our Field Notes vodka and gin are the only clear spirits that are served there.
That's awesome, dude.
It's called Winter Wondergrass. Yeah, really cool, kind of bluegrass, kind of Americana rock little music festival. About 5,000-6,000 people in each location.
That's awesome.
Super cool. So we had the Steamboat Springs one, which was really good, and then they've got the Tahoe one. So we do a little bit of distribution. There's a couple liquor stores in the Tahoe area that carry our product, but for the most part, we were just getting our product out there for the festival, and we'll see where California goes. But
where did the conversation start? Where you're like, hey man, will you sponsor the Steamboat Spring? What is it called? Steamboat Springs?
It's called Winter Wondergrass.
Winter Wondergrass. Sorry, I apologize.
So essentially, there's 4 founders to the distillery, and we kind of have our own little role and involvement in it. Myself, I've been in the distribution side for many years.
Yeah, you guys were with Breakthrough.
Yep. So I worked.
You were with Breakthrough.
Yep. And so I lived out in Colorado originally from the Green Bay area, just north of Green Bay, and went to school in La Crosse, but then was in Colorado for many years, and I worked for Breakthrough out there in the distribution side. And
were you, when you say that you work for Breakthrough, were you like throwing boxes, or what were you doing? Like, I'm just honest.
Everything. I was building boxes. No, I was. I ran a sales division, an off-premise sales team. So distribution side sales. Yep.
So you were mainly in the sales part,
most
hitting accounts, making sure you're hitting whatever numbers or
exactly.
They did.
And so again, going back to Tito's conversation. So my sales team. We sold the Tito's portfolio. We sold a lot of big brands and some craft brands. And so maybe I guess we're about 4 years old. So maybe about 5 years, a little bit more than 5 years ago, I started the conversations with a couple of my other a good friend of mine, Chad Staley. So he's in the music industry.
That's okay. That's adding up with the Winter Wondergrass. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. So he's So Chad kind of handles a lot of our some of our branding, and again he's got a great look and feel for a lot of things, and so we kind of Nick is a little bit more kind of he's been in a lot of some development stuff like that, and even hospitality industry,
which works well with the beautiful distillery you guys have in La Crosse,
and the restaurant and everything. And then Mitch is another one of the founders, and so he's our distiller. So we kind of have each of our own roles and everything. We really kind of work really as a nice little group together here.
Lee, I've been meaning to ask you this, and take this with a grain of salt, obviously, but why didn't you guys go with Breakthrough? Honest, like, you know what I mean? Is it you're gonna be lost in the portfolio, or what was it? Because forgive me, but like Miss Mary's Bloody Mary mix, for example, they were like one of the head guys was from the Wisconsin Greater Breakthrough area, and he was like, when it came time to join his distributor, he was like, "We're going Breakthrough." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's like their brand they push in Wisconsin, but like. For you guys, were you like, hey, we want to focus on artisan and maybe get a little more attention, or what was the thing?
A little bit of that, and it was really just distributor shopping is kind of interesting. It's an interesting game. I know that.
What are your benefits? What are your faults? Oh God.
Yeah. Well, and again, I come from the distributor side.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
so you know way more than I ever will. That's why I'm asking.
You know, and part of it, you know, even as I think, you know, for us, like we've got visions of taking some of these brands to a national level,
sure, or international. Dun dun dun.
For sure.
Okay.
But it's like, you know, we're still like trying to get distributors' attention is
sure. It's hard
in this landscape now. You know, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But you know, it's like the COVID factor too. It's just really tight. There's a lot of brands out there.
Yep, there are.
So I think, you know, in our early infancy, as we were kind of honestly, we really didn't even have a conversation with Breakthrough in Wisconsin. It was
really you guys like
we teamed up with this Capital Houston out of Milwaukee and a local distributor called Nelke, and they were, you know, family-owned companies.
Nelke.
Okay,
Nelke.
Yeah. So those two companies kind of works.
Yeah, hand in hand. I got told they're kind of like partners, sort of.
Essentially. So Nelke kind of handles our La Crosse area business.
Yeah.
Capital Houston and Allstate. That company kind of handles the rest of the state, like you know, this territory.
So did you start with Nelke and then it grew?
Just both of them at the same time. Yeah.
And there was a relationship previously, or no?
Not much. With it, yeah, it was just kind of it again kind of happened organically, where it was just I think like-minded individuals from the top down that, you know, it was a family-owned type of thing, and you know, they had a good emerging brand portfolio.
Sure.
They've got some other great craft Wisconsin brands that we thought, you know, that we kind of fit a good piece to their puzzle that they could kind of essentially, you know, with some of those other brands, hopefully kind of, you know, high tides type of thing. And, you know, that all of our brands could kind of, you know,
work out,
play in the same park together. So, yeah, just kind of, like I said, never
thought like, hey, I'm going to join Breakthrough. You know, I just thought with maybe your background and your knowledge of like, I know how Breakthrough
I didn't say
works.
We're not with Breakthrough.
Okay. Are you with Breakthrough in Colorado?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Sorry. Okay. Anyway.
And Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
So
you're with
So,
and,
but
and
you know,
in Colorado, they're a huge player.
Very big. They are probably the largest. Well, especially for spirits wise.
But how do you guys not get lost? Like, how do you not get lost in the portfolio?
Oh, we do.
Oh, okay. Oh, God. But that's how it is for everyone. Like, I distribute, and you know, it's like we have an American wheat that beat, you know, one of the largest beer companies in the world in international competition, and it's like, and I'm like, you sell that product as well? They're like, yeah. So what do you want us to, you want me to replace this one that makes me more money and they have more volume behind them? You guys are making 200 or 300 gallons at a time. These guys make like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of gallons of juice. And they're like, what are you going to do? You know? So you got to fight for a little bit of position.
Ultimately, and the distributor world, you know, and that's the even a little bit more difficult for those of you that don't know, especially on the liquor side. Liquor is a lot different than even beer or wine. Whether it's even licenses to serve, at a restaurant and stuff. It's a different license. Even for distribution wise, we cannot self-distribute.
In Wisconsin.
And most states are like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think like maybe 2 or 3 you can for like under a certain volume.
Yeah,
right?
There's all kinds. Each state is different.
They all got their own rules.
Generally speaking, you know, there's the federal 3-tier system, so we legally have to go through a distributor, and distributors are great. We can't have. We don't have the trucks and the manpower to be able to ship our product on a daily basis down to Illinois. But, so we've got to have them, but it is a struggle because there's so many brands out there, and so having a distributor that's a partner is truly what we're all looking for. That seems have the same quality and vision and everything behind it and the resources. But even it's really cool because going back to the Colorado conversation, it's like my old sales team is selling my brands, and it's pretty damn cool. A lot of my old teammates are selling it. And damn it, they still need to sell more.
Doug, pick it up, Doug.
Yeah, come on, man. They do good for us, but again, they're also selling some monster brands.
Time of mind or whatever, like getting a little bit of like their thought process is tough.
It is, and so generally speaking, it is all about our own people and our own boots on the ground.
Which is very important.
I'm actually heading out to Colorado on Friday. Go out there and see some accounts that I've got some relationships with, and
that's huge.
Just it's important because myself or someone on my team, my sales team, we can tell the story better than even a distributor rep.
A million times, yeah.
I'm sure you know that as well. It's like we rely on the distributor to sell it for us because they're the ones with the iPads who are punching the orders and they're getting the commissions, but also we have to back it up from our end, whether it's branded glassware or posters or making presentations. There's just not enough time a day for anybody, let alone a distributor rep because they've got 100 brands to sell.
Yeah, and everyone wants 10 minutes of their time, but 10 minutes times, not I'm going to say just 100, thousands of brands that some of these reps have. It is very hard to not get lost in the fray.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
And I'm going to get a little open about us too. When we signed with a distributor, it was. We handed off like about 200 or 300 accounts that we had established to the distributor, and it was great, and everything was wonderful, and we were producing so much. I pulled my sales guy to help us do volume, and I regret it 1,000% because it's not just the idea of, okay, I handed you all these accounts. They're already established relationships. They have established lines, which is very valuable in the beer game.
Yep. Absolutely.
And instead it was like, okay, we handed them off, but then suddenly you're no longer top of mind because your sales guy isn't stopping once every 2 weeks, once a week, whatever it is, depending on volume. And they're not there to be like, hey, you need glasses, you need anything, whatever. I'm here for you, man. Like, you know what I mean?
We got a new seasonal. It's like, the distributor reps getting 40 new seasonals each week.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? And and that's where, have you guys done anything with spiffs, the dirty word in the alcohol game or anything? Have you not?
What is it?
Spiff? Is that the correct word? Forgive me. Maybe I'm the idiot here.
I don't know what a spiff is.
Okay. What is the sales incentives?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Is it called a spiff?
Oh, I guess we just call it incentives.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, incentives are a pretty big part of our industry.
Yeah. So you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just like, I know like some companies do, like if you hit certain numbers, you give bonuses to X people. Right?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We
and it's
again,
you're trying to be top of mind.
Yeah.
And it's
money is a motivating thing.
It is. It really is. And you try and kind of move up that little list of their priorities, and whether it's a rep or a manager, and so it is. It is all about, but that, again, that is the top thing for us. It's like, producing the spirits, it's expensive, don't get me wrong, especially for us being organic and, organic
beautiful bottling.
But it's like, the expenses in packaging, the expenses is, our distributors got to make money.
Yep,
the retailers got to make money. Yep. So everyone, and then it's like, for our side, it's like, we pay our own people, to get out there and sell it. And then we're also throwing some incentives out to, our distributors and stuff like that.
Sales guys as well, help them get placement, whatever.
So, it's
it's a journey.
It's a journey. Yep, exactly. But it's exciting. It's fun, but...
that's the joy of being in the game we live, right? You know what I mean? And it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Let's talk about Toodaloo. As he's like, fucking A. Where's the cap for this? I don't need to lose the cap. Okay.
So the downtown Toodaloo, I hinted at it.
I'm going to do this for my own self. That's beautiful.
Doesn't that sound nice?
God.
So our downtown Toodaloo, like I said, this is, kind of our leading brand in Colorado. And
man, that's great.
This guy's just a really fun style of whiskey. So it is a rock and rye whiskey. So again, you can, as we're a house of brands, and a lot of this is a little bit of throwing darts.
Sure.
Where as we're waiting for our bourbon to be ready, and a rye whiskey to sit in those barrels, we just kind of always brand developing and thinking kind of what are cool ideas, whether for us to brand it or maybe some trendy styles of whiskey or whatnot. So this guy is a rock and rye whiskey. It is a legal category of whiskey that's actually been around since I believe it's 1883. So again, as like there's certain categories like vodka's got to be distilled at a certain proof, and it's technically kind of colorless, odorless, tasteless. Bourbon's got to be in a barrel minimum 2 years, so new charred oak. So it's got these regulations from the government, from the TTB, that says what it is. So this is a legal category of whiskey from the TTB. Basically, it's got to be a rye whiskey with a crystallized sugar source added to it. And
how long does your rye have to age? Is that a rule?
It does not. No.
Okay. Got it. I was just curious.
A straight rye whiskey legally has to be in a barrel for 2 years. New charred oak, 51% rye.
Because that's something I just learned too. Bourbon and rye whiskey kind of have to have certain rules and requirements to be that.
Absolutely.
Versus like Canadian whiskey, it's like whatever the fuck goes.
Canadian whiskey is like colored vodka.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like whatever. It could be light whiskey. It could be rye whiskey.
There's no rules. Yeah,
I just put Canada on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the government, in America, the laws are a little bit more strict. They've got kind of these defined categories. So rock and rye. So dates back to the mid 1800s. That's when pharmacists, they were the ones prescribing whiskey. Okay. So they'd go in there with a toothache or a case of the blues, or their child needed some whiskey because they were teething or whatever.
Sure, yeah, they were in pain. Sure.
Pharmacists were the ones who were prescribing that whiskey, and they would put rock candy into the whiskey. So essentially, they'd steep rock candy into rye whiskey and make it a little bit more sweeter, a little bit more palatable. Whether the whiskey was shitty or they just needed a little bit sweeter. And so they put rock candy into it, and so that's where rock and rye comes from. So it was actually a crystallized candy, essentially, that they would put into the whiskey.
Wow.
So it's this kind of cool, almost like a little bit, it's basically the first categorized flavored whiskey. And so again, 1883 became this basically a flavored whiskey. So what we use instead of a rock candy, there's a few other competitors that are out there. They'll use an actual candy, like basically a sugar.
Sure.
What we do is we use a crystallized honey.
Oh, cool.
And so it's all natural, all organic. And generally speaking, the rock and rye category is going to have much more, kind of a citrus quality to it.
Okay.
A lot of people will use like an orange extract or something like that. So what we do is we use, again, all natural fruit, oranges, lemon peel, and cranberries.
Okay.
A little bit of maple syrup and a little touch of that crystallized honey.
Oh,
and so
that's really cool, dude.
Yeah. And so it literally drinks like an old fashioned. Mm-hmm. It drinks like a cocktail. It's an 88 proof whiskey, so you get that rye kind of.
There's a rye backbone
to it.
there.
Yeah, get a little bit of
rye
rye spice and a little bit of that kind of that burn from the whiskey, but it's going to have just that nice kind of natural sweetness to it. It's not overpowering, and you put it on the rocks and it really opens up just like an old fashioned, just like a cocktail.
I'm making him drink all the stuff neat, so so sorry about that.
No, I prefer a lot of it on myself, but as far as like for the consumer who's wants to grab a bottle to drink at home, put it on the rocks, and again it drinks a lot like a cocktail.
We with the rock and rye do it with an old fashioned, and we usually do it with like a bourbon soaked cherry or something like that, and it really works really, really, really nice. So I think it's a fantastic product. It's easy to drink. It's there is sweetness to it, but I think it's one thing that I always try to educate my staff as well as the consumer is it's not so sweet where you're drinking.
Really
I know it is fucking good, but it's not so sweet where you're drinking candy water though. You know what I mean? Because some people are like, oh, so it's like like a sweetened whiskey. I'm like, yeah, but you know what I mean. This is not Mountain Dew and whatever Whistler or something like that.
You're spot on.
Windsor.
It's not going to be that heavy syrupy sweetness to it. It's very subtle. It's more you get that whiskey backbone, that whiskey kind of that little bit of burn to it. But just kind of that touch of sweetness to it.
So where you said this before, but where do you guys age your spirits? Yeah. Okay. I know that you have like 2 locations, or where do you guys do it?
Yeah, so we do a little bit on site, right? Okay. So our distillery is right downtown La Crosse, about a block and a half from the Mississippi River. Really cool little location.
And it's landlocked though, right? You know what I mean? It's not like you have like area to build out, right? No, you're right in downtown.
It's a beautiful little spot.
Which is gorgeous.
It's kind of right by the Oktoberfest grounds. We're kind of a little bit in the kind of a warehousey kind of district. It's a really cool spot. But we are landlocked. So it's not it's a good sized facility, but not enough storage for a true rick house, to put our whiskey barrels. So
as most places have, like most people don't have those rick houses. They always just think of like Buffalo Trace or something. Most craft distilleries don't have giant rick houses.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually use one of our farmers.
Oh wow!
So it's a really cool barn out on one of his properties, and it was. He wasn't using it for years and years and years. I believe it was his grandma's property and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of one of those things. And Patrick, he's the same gentleman, and his family farm that they come and grab the spent grain and everything. And so one of his farms is in West Salem, so about 10 miles from the distillery, and just been the barn's kind of been sitting there, and it was just kind of a easy transition where it's like, Patrick, you got a place for us to store barrels? He's like, yeah, I guess I do. So he kind of fortified the ground, and now we've got over 500 barrels of whiskey sitting out there right now.
Wait, so I'm going to summarize this. You guys have an old barn, probably 1900s.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'd say mid 1900s. Yeah, maybe early.
Anyway, probably old. Old. All right, when you drive by a barn, you're like, that's an old barn.
Yep.
He refortified the ground, or like because there's technically like it's set up like a normal Wisconsin barn. A normal Wisconsin barn, the cows are below, the feed's above, and there's a lot of room above for the feed because you got to have it for all the cows, right? And through the winter.
Yep, exactly.
And so now that's empty, and he went underneath, and I can't even imagine how. Because I didn't go down there. Like, that's
it's the old. You can see
cow
where
stalls.
the cow stalls were. Yep.
Yeah, so, and he refortified it. He just like wow.
Yep. Got it. Kind of put a new subfloor in it, and because we got a lot of whiskey up there. So
500 barrels. That's a lot of weight, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and there's going to be a lot more and more. We've got a third distiller now, so now actually we're going into some real heavy bourbon mode as we speak. Yeah, these last couple of weeks, this is kind of our time where we ramp up a lot of our production for our distributed spirits just to make sure we're good for the holidays, and then we go into very high volume bourbon mode right now.
So with being, I know the beer side, and with liquor, like holiday time is what? Like that's crunch time. That's like when spirits move.
Yeah, we call it the OND, October, November, December.
Okay.
It is the busiest months of the year.
Really? For spirits, that's the busiest.
In
not
some
summer?
aspects of it, no. It's almost like half of our business is done essentially
in 3 months.
In 3 to 4 months, yeah.
Is that like bars looking for tax breaks, or you know what I mean, or what is it?
Holidays.
Okay. It's just people drink it.
Gift giving. Sure. It's holiday parties. It's Packers.
Sure. Also, we forgot to talk about this. Downtown Toulouse is available at Lambeau as well, right?
So right now the Field Notes vodka you can get throughout the stadium. If you order a Wisconsin Bloody Mary throughout the stadium, it is made with Field Notes vodka. Toulouse is going to be right now more available up on the club level, suites, that type of thing.
Well, should be everywhere, but whatever. We can talk about that some other time.
Year one.
3-year partnership.
That's
year
where
one.
I'm headed next.
I'm sure it'll be a 100-year partnership. So
let's hope so.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, so God, now I'm off topic. So you guys basically age the majority of your stuff 500. You make all your money, or half of your money, basically in October, November, December.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, a lot of let's say maybe even say a third, but a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Let's say 40, right? Meet in the middle, right? So
fair.
So this time is real crunch time for you guys to really kind of like
absolutely
hit the ground running.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Make sure we got whatever appropriate promotions, yada yada yada.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. And that's whether it's our marketing efforts and our target marketing and stuff like that, or putting up displays in liquor stores and all that. This is truly our go time. We kind of plan a lot of our year for this.
So interesting. Beer, it's like, all right, just so you know, April, you better be ready to go. Yeah. And it's like April, May, June, July, August, September, October is considered the slowest time of year for us. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Now I get it. They're stealing all my thunder, but I get it.
Exactly. Yep.
But I get it.
It's probably a lot of that is drinking habits change a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's like
not out on the boat. You're not like mixing a cocktail on the boat. You know what I mean?
You're instead of White Claws, maybe you're rotating
or
into
Stubborn
bourbon.
Brothers Brewery beer, but that's all right.
Shut up! I should have said that name. Seltzers. Yeah, Stubborn Brothers seltzers.
Yeah. God, seltzers. Anyway. Fuck. All right. Anyway, so you guys are then October, November, December, then January. When's the slow time? January, February.
January, February. That's where it almost like shuts off.
Yeah.
That's a little extreme, but yes, January and February generally. And then it'll kind of ramp up as the spring, as the snow melts and stuff, and we get a little spike in May and June and July, and then it kind of dips a little bit in August and September.
God, that is hilarious. Like it's opposite of beer.
Almost.
I'm out.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And like,
so we can all play.
Yes, that's right. We're all team players.
We're
yes, absolutely.
That's why I give you whiskey barrels.
Yeah, they'll find out shortly here. Yeah, so we age. I think we have 20, 30.
Yeah, maybe 30. Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, you got a lot of barrels.
We have everything aging. We have our whiskey barrel fugitive, which is an Irish red. We have 3 Baltic porters. We have 2 heavy stouts. Yeah, all aging in your barrels right now. So thanks, man.
Yeah,
you're amazing.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I can't wait to release that stuff with you.
Absolutely.
Hey, are you guys? What's going on with that? Random fact: we gave you guys it's reverse. We got a barrel from you. I think we aged our beer in it. Now we gave it back, and now you guys have it. I think you guys filled it up with bourbon or whiskey. I don't know what you guys did.
I think we.
I was gonna say it was a beer because I was like mentally preparing. Okay, that must be it then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's bourbon.
Because we were ready to. I'm not gonna lie. I had budgeted to pay you guys for that this month or something. So. Yeah, whenever it drops, there's zero pressure.
Yeah, I gotta talk with Mitch,
give him a little call.
Where is it?
Yeah, whatever, where it went. So,
it's somewhere in that big stash of barrels.
It's fine. There's zero pressure. Yeah. So anyway, how do you guys plan? How do you plan for what you're making for bourbon and rye? Like how does one forecast? If you said Aaron, you have to plan for 5 years or 4 years in advance where you're going to be.
Yeah.
Starting today, I'd be like, I don't know, 50%, 100% more. I don't know, man.
It is,
So how do you guys do it? Or is it just a game, or what?
It's a little bit of the game. It's a lot of throwing darts and throwing numbers out there, and there's some as far as our strategies and how we're going to market and putting people on the street and just kind of understanding where trends are. There's a lot of research and time behind forecasting and projecting. It's we look at it every couple months, and it's like, all right, what does Q1 look like? What does Q2 look like? And then not only are we forecasting to understand where our business is going to go and where it's going to be, but we also have to understand our production schedule. So as we something like the Toodaloo, where it's a younger age whiskey. But then the oranges and the lemon peel and the cranberries that we put in it, it's about a month's process for that fruit essentially to macerate and to develop in that tote until it basically stabilizes and the flavor is the flavor. Okay. So we've got to plan that out. Our vodka, it's we've got to forecast okay, vodka sales are going to pick up a little bit in June. So we've got to do all that. But then it's then how do we get some bourbon in there?
Yeah.
And I think, a good thing and, kind of a double-edged sword with our, success or the growth that we've had over the last 4 years. Good things that our vodka has been that well received and our gin's been well received, and some of these other fun little spirits have been very well received. So we've got to produce these and we got to keep up with demand for these. But then it's the more we are producing these, the less time we have to be making bourbon.
Yeah, which is a huge problem.
Yeah, it is.
When you start to have a brand portfolio per se, like you say, a house of brands, you have all these brands that you are responsible for producing. Have you guys ever thought about forgive me, but I'm going to say the dirty word, bringing in, a neutral grain spirit or something like that to help out? Because, from when I've talked to some guys out there in the sales world, your rye is fucking going hot.
Yeah.
And so it's why aren't we just having Mitch just focus on producing purely rye bourbon? But at the same time, you can't even get barrels either, right? So
it's, and it's also, it's a cash flow thing too, where it's
you gotta have money.
You're throwing a bunch of, thousands of dollars on every batch of bourbon that you make, and then you're not going to see that for a minimum another 4 years.
Oh,
for us,
you wonder why people aren't cash positive right away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long-term game. But I think for us, we've now have a third distiller on our team,
which will help a lot.
Yep. So now we can kind of run a second shift on it, and we can kind of stagger to be able to essentially have a little bit more time in our schedule to be able to produce more bourbon. But it is, it's a tricky game.
Yeah.
It's really finding time to be able to squeeze it all in.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys are almost running. You run 5 or 7 days a week.
We're 6 to 7 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
Yep.
that's a lot. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And how big is your still?
It's a 1,500 liter still.
Okay.
Medium size.
Okay. I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm like, that's like 250 to, that's like 300 some gallons.
Yeah, something like that. So generally speaking, like when we do a bottling run, I guess if we want to quantify it in that area, we're bottling generally about 200 cases at a time or so.
Okay.
We produce generally on average 400 plus cases a week.
Okay.
Whether that's finished goods or if we're producing it just to go into barrels. Generally we're in our current facility in the current state, we're slated to be able to produce about 40,000 cases a year.
Holy Toledo. That's a lot. But you guys are, like the fact, you're still running 6 to 7 days a week. That means that, you guys you're growing, you're doing something correct.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And then I always like to add this too, because a lot of people don't really understand the distillation game. Oh yeah, pour away, dude. I was,
especially if you're falling asleep.
Yeah, I'm not falling asleep.
You guys are bored out there.
He's like, you guys fucking don't even listen to Aaron. So when you I always like to go through what you guys do for distillation, how you guys do it. So in the beer game, I had another distiller here yesterday we chatted with, and in beer, right, we mix the grain together and then we drain out the wort, it's called. But you guys don't do that. You guys actually take the grain and everything and you actually put it right into a fermenter. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then do you guys do temperature control?
We do, yep. And so that's where we use that geothermal water. So that geothermal water is able to kind of control those fermenters and the mash tun and everything.
So you guys have temperature control, 75 degrees, 76 degrees, something like that?
That is a question for Mitchell.
It's a proprietary answer. Because there's so many distilleries that have no temperature control.
Yep. So that's Mitch is certainly more of the he's the chemist. You should have get him on the horn.
So after that, you guys ferment, have some kind of temperature control, and then from there you go right into your 1,500 liter still. Yeah. And you take the grain with that to the still as well.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And our still is kind of it's a cool still. It's actually we call it a hybrid still. So as most people have seen the pot still, we've got the pot still, and then we've got the 2 columns. Okay. And so with that, it really allows us to be versatile with our spirits, where we can produce whiskeys, we can produce clear spirits. A lot of clear spirits are generally going to be run on more of the column stills. Yeah. So those are the taller stills. Generally, you can run a little bit of a higher proof out of a column still. Okay. Like a clear spirit, like a vodka, has to be distilled at that higher proof. Bourbons, whiskeys have to be distilled at a lower proof. So those pot stills are a little bit of a lower proof style. So we've kind of got best of both worlds. Yeah. With our still that we've got.
And you guys, who makes your still? Some really fancy guy.
A company, a fancy German guy.
Yeah, some fancy German.
Someone Cote. Yeah, it's a Cote still. Okay. Yeah, so it's a German engineered still.
Oh, I was just in Germany.
Yeah.
I guessed. It's not as crazy as everyone makes it out to be. So that's my answer to Germany.
Well, cool. Well,
anyway, let's chat about this quick as well. So we're running on 53 minutes. I can just talk to you for literally fucking forever.
Hours.
Yeah. What is this?
This is our kind of our newest release that we had. So we tested this a while ago. We had it bottled. And we were selling out of our tasting room and our little merchandise stand.
I remember when you launched that. Yeah. You were like, dude, because you were like, you guys have maple syrup in here, right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's a trade secret or not. So sorry if I gave that away.
We're transparent. We're pretty transparent about it. So we call it the Hetty Bella. It is a coffee whiskey. So this is not a coffee liqueur. A lot of people are used to, as we were talking, some very sweet, basically a liqueur is going to be low proof, high sugar, legally definition of what a liqueur is.
Sure.
So it's going to have to be a low ABV and then a high sugar content. So this is a whiskey. So this is an 80 proof whiskey. So it is a rye whiskey base. And then we add coarse espresso grounds directly right to the whiskey after it comes out of the barrel. So this is a very coffee forward style whiskey. And then we do add just a little hint of that maple syrup. So you get just a little hint of the maple syrup just to kind of cut some of the bitterness. Coffee can be very bitter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So it cuts a little bit of that bitterness of the coffee and just gives it a nice little mouthfeel to the back. But it is, again, this is not going to be a big sweet Kahlua.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is not Kahlua.
No,
I'm drinking this right now, and like I say, there's a sipper. I could slam this, but it's definitely not something that you're just drinking with like a bunch of Bailey's Irish cream and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure that would taste great in here, but this is wonderful. You can just drink it on the rocks. It's clean, but you still get that whiskey bite.
That's exactly it. Yep. And so, I mean, even when we were designing the label and everything, we wanted to say coffee whiskey. This is not a This is not a coffee liqueur. It's not a coffee flavored whiskey. This is coffee and whiskey. It's a very, awesome. Generally speaking, it's a very simple formula, but just been an incredible success for us. It just is it's a really fun spirit, slightly dangerous, because there's
What's the proof on this?
It's 80 proof.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I wouldn't have
guess
that.
There's about 400 milligrams of caffeine in every bottle too. So there's a good amount of a lot of espresso that goes into producing it, and so there's a lot of caffeine in it.
Dude, seriously, are you allowed to do that?
Isn't it? Honestly, when we were kind of developing it, it's like, wait a second. We can do this?
Yeah, I was gonna say usually mixing a stimulant and a depressant isn't really
you remember they
Four Loko. Remember that?
They got rid of
that. They were like, you can't do that.
It's like, well, they're essentially allowing us to. So
all you college students, if you can afford it.
And it's really not all that expensive at $29.99.
$29.99 sounds like an infomercial. That beautiful bottle and everything.
Yeah, all organic. But
it's around Marquette's campus soon. Jesus Lord.
But it is, it's all Wisconsin made. It's
who roasted the coffee? Sorry.
So we work with a company called Wonder State Coffee. So it's an organic roaster out of Viroqua. So about 40 minutes from La Crosse, kind of between La Crosse and Madison. Cool. Great little family company. They make some fantastic coffee, but they're all about the fair trade, organic. They're just their company mission and everything really aligns with what we're doing. They're just great people, Luke and his team down there. So great people. Even the maple syrup that we use is Embark Trees, which is really about 10 or 15 miles from La Crosse. A small little family organic maple syrup farmer. So all Wisconsin made, and that's really, again, even though, technically the beans are South America, not a lot of coffee beans in the Driftless region around La Crosse, but at least these companies, they do, they go down and pick out what farmers that they're going to be working with. And everything. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, very very cool. Both companies are very cool. So it's really cool that we can kind of collab on this and again, it's been a great success. It's just a really fun spirit where, again, you can put it on the rocks. It's fantastic with cream.
Sure.
Rocks and cream as a chilled shot. Fantastic. Shake it up a little bit and get a little froth on it, and brings out a lot more almost chocolate characteristics to it. And just a really, really fun spirit.
Is this available everywhere wherever you guys distribute?
Yep. So it is available, all 5 states.
Okay, it's good for me to know.
Yes. Oh. So, if you want a coffee old fashioned, or it's really espresso martini.
I was gonna say we'll probably use it for an espresso martini. I was like, that's just fantastic. Mm-hmm. This is good. This is really good.
Yeah. But very, it's coffee forward. It's whiskey. Yeah. It's a pretty cool spirit.
Yeah. So
that's kind of our newest. So we released that in midsummer. So
okay, got it. Well. And do you guys got anything else coming out? Like, don't get me wrong, this is a pretty gall-darn new release, but, you guys have, like, pilot projects you're working on at all, or is that kind of it?
So our next release will be our bourbon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys, like you said, we're hitting that 4-year mark.
Yes, we our first barrels of bourbon, literally right around 4 years ago to now is when some of our first bourbon was laid down. So yeah, we're looking at we're kind of working through some of the brand development and the labeling and stuff like that right now. So that's always the fun, exciting, seeing these babies blossom and these labels kind of grow. And as for us, we take a lot of pride in our labels, and whether you hate them or love them, they're all unique. They're unique expressions. Each one of and that's, I think, even going back to this house of brands type of thing, it's like each one of our brands, we believe, has a story to tell. Even the vodka has a story to tell. It's not going to be your typical vodka. So, and a lot of that is in the branding too. That kind of really works with the spirit and stuff. So, so we're kind of in that process right now of working on the label for the bourbon.
That's huge.
So we should. Hoping to release, in early 2023, we'll release some of the bourbon. Not a ton.
Are you guys doing bottled and bond? Is that why you're doing waiting for? Forgive me, but there's a lot of people who are trying to do, who's Three Floyds released a 2-year.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Are 4 years the minimum for a bottle and bond, or are you guys just choosing 4 years?
We're just choosing when it's the right time.
Sure. Based upon taste.
Almost 95% of it is the juice ready. Is it?
We're not rushing this.
We're not rushing it. Again, as we're playing this waiting game, we want to make sure it's released at the right time.
Yeah.
But again, we're still, in a lot of the testing processes to see, how many barrels it's going to be probably a small amount, especially on this first kind of run. But we just want to make sure that the juice is ready, the juice is right. Not every barrel is going to be ready. And so, we've been tasting it quite a bit in these last 6 months or so. And we're like, wow, this shit's getting optimal. It's getting great right now. So so that's kind of where okay, let's start working on this, and we'll release some in the springtime, and kind of a fun little offering as the weather is starting to.
Well, that's amazing.
Still be cold, but So
still need something to warm you up, right?
Absolutely, So that's kind of our next kind of little hot spot that's coming down the pipeline. So I'm pretty excited. Finally be able to release some of our own brown goods.
Yeah. Well, and that's huge. Are you guys going to do brandy? Is that something you've ever looked at?
We do an apple brandy.
Oh.
Yep. So
how do I not know this?
Yeah, we do an apple brandy. We don't go to distribution with our apple brandy.
Sure.
We just sell bottles of apple brandy out of our tasting room.
Okay. Got it.
So we just release some. We release it right in the fall, right around our anniversary time, right around September 1st. And it's just a small amount. We work with this cool organic orchard farmer that's just actually in Minnesota, in La Crosse, Minnesota, right across the river. But small amount of apple brandy. So we've kicked the ideas on doing an actual great brandy to go to distribution and stuff. And I think for us,
it just doesn't.
We got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, you're about to drop a bourbon, dude. That you guys need to put your efforts behind.
Absolutely, and the success of these really cool brands have, there's still a lot going on. And again, also finding organic grapes grown in Wisconsin to produce and go to distribution is really not possible. So we'd have to source that brandy.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's part of it. Not super opposed to it, but.
There's no need when you guys make
right now. We're kind of
zero pressure.
We're kind of the eye on the prize is kind of producing our own juice.
That's what I love about you guys. You guys aren't you're not compromising. You guys are these are our values. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean. So many people would easily fold and be like, oh, we got to chase the money. You guys are this is what we believe. To do this, and that's admirable.
Yeah, it's again, it's a lot of clawing and scratching. A lot of, like I said, when we started this, I had no gray in this beard until took on this project. But it's what we believe in. It's
what you're passionate about.
It is, and we want to do it the right way. And again, we've got a great story to tell. And we want to kind of continue down that path.
Well, thank you guys for listening in and watching me and Lee chat. We are InGrained, and this is Lee from Crosse Distilling, and thanks so much.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Aaron from Stubborn Brothers.
Oh, you're welcome. Lee from Crosse Distilling. Cheers.